going on, everybody? This is Ziggy the Beast, producer of hashtag Heels for Life Wrestling Podcast. And today we have a big show in store for y'all today. We have WWE wrestling fans versus AEW wrestling fans. But should it really be AEW wrestling fans versus WWE wrestling fans? Why can't we just be wrestling fans? Why is it that there's one side versus the other? Why can't we enjoy both? Why is there so much toxicity in the IWC right now? And what Chris proposed we all do today is we all come to the table and we all discuss our differences. Why do we feel so strongly behind whatever company? Why do we feel so strongly behind bashing other people if they like other products? Why is it like that? So today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be trying to have a conversation and see if we can maybe come to more of an understanding of each other and not promote the toxicity that's actually been going on in the IWC. So from what I heard from Chris early in the week, conversation can get heated and that's okay, but we're going to make sure we keep it respectful. We're going to make sure we do not lob insults at each other. And we're going to make sure that we also, at the end of the day, remember we are all wrestling fans. Definitely be in store for a very, very interesting show.
Hold up, hashtag Heels for Life. Wanna welcome everybody, yeah, we gotta get it hype. Hey, every week talking wrestling, we get into it. Current events, even guests that we're interviewing. Hosted by Chris, Kid USA, and Nappy Boy. Shout out to Ziggy, put the smack down, you can't ignore. The best you gon' find anywhere online. Tell the competition they about to get clothesline. Hold up, hashtag Heels for Life. Let's go.
all this time, y'all. Oh my fucking god. Oh my fucking god. Okay. So, for the last like fucking 5 minutes, I have been talking and talking and talking and talking, and no one can hear me. Great. Very great. I forgot to unmute myself. Great. All right. How are we going to do this? Because people are going to like listen back to this podcast, and they're going to be like wondering like what the fuck, what the hell, what's been going on. Yes, you're going to be, you really are, Ziggy. You really are. Okay. So apologize for that, everyone. We're in the clear. So as I was saying before, um tonight we will be talking about AEW versus WWE fans. We're going to be talking with fans from social media, from YouTube, from Facebook to tweet, from shit, God knows wherever. You know what I'm saying? Um, this is not going to be about Flair. This is not going to be about Stone Cold. This is not going to be about The Rock. This is not going to be Charlotte's um broken engagement with Andrade. No, this is basically a conversation that we need to have. We need to talk about. We need to talk about this shit because the shit been going on for God knows how long. And quite frankly, I am tired of this shit. So what I'm going to do is I am going to send you guys a link so you guys can come on with me and talk. And yeah, we're going to have a nice little conversation. It could be WWE fans, it could be AEW fans. Um, we need to talk. Dead ass. And please share this podcast. Share it everywhere, everyone. Share it, share it, share it, share it, share it. Because I have been letting people know that we need to talk about this. And this is something that needs to be said. We need to get this shit out the way. And we can continue with our lives. Because honestly, this is ridiculous. Like for real. If you sit here and you telling me that I can't watch something because you disapprove of it because they're taking your shine, I think that's bullshit. Because at the end of the day, wrestling is wrestling. And if you can't distinguish between the two, then you don't need to be in our community. That's just facts. You know what I'm saying? Like I've tried to tolerate this. I've tried to. And quite frankly, I'm done. I'm done. I've seen the level of pettiness, but this is going to another level. And this has been going on for way too long. So hopefully tonight we'll have some clarification from both sides, from WWE fans, AEW fans, people that's neutral. I mean, I'm all for it. I'm all about the energy tonight. You know what I'm saying? So, and sorry, Ziggy, I know you're going to be editing like a motherfucker. So, you know, you're going to probably be editing like 3 minutes. Um, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wait for you guys to come on. I'm waiting for okay, there's Rocky Reese. Okay, I'm gonna get him on in a second. All right. Let's see. think let me just make sure I got everybody. Okay. All right. All right. Mr. Reese.
Hey, what's
How
up,
you doing?
Chris?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, man, I when I heard you was doing this show, I had to get up in this because
Most
I've
definitely.
definitely seen both sides of this coin play out, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's I want to get this straight because this hits a little bit personal to me because next month I actually celebrate my
Mm-hmm.
wrestling fandom anniversary. It'll
Mm-hmm.
be 33 years.
Mm.
And, and I tell you, like, I've seen a lot of promotions and stuff come in, and it's like there's good, there's bad.
Mm.
That's going
Mm-hmm.
to be true with wrestling. no matter how you cut it.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as this thing between AEW, WWE goes,
Mm-hmm.
like I've seen I've seen like these type of fan wars going on. Like I remembered back in the day, like of course, obviously WCW, WW, WCW, WWF back in the
Mm-hmm.
day.
Mm-hmm.
But even there, even those wars between those fans were nowhere near the level of where this has gone
Of course
between
not.
him.
Me in my years of watching wrestling, I've never seen it this bad.
him. And here's where like I think a lot of this comes in between just because yeah, WWE when they were actually great,
Mm-hmm.
there was like of course they set the bar.
Mm-hmm.
And usually depending on how they go, that's how a lot of the other companies went.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, Vince McMahon has always tried to monopolize wrestling.
Correct.
And to a point, I get why he's done it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same point, that was also one of the worst things Vince did because now you were monopolizing it to the point where he was actually undermining his own talent because
Right.
you
That
look at
part.
what happened with NXT.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be your preparation
Correct.
for bringing people up to the main roster.
Right.
Yet you're basically saying that, wait a minute, I brought you up here. Why? I was like, when you called people up, NXT was supposed to be the finishing point
Correct.
where I could go to AEW.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I said there's one mistake they've made from the beginning more than anything else. And that was, you got to remember, you're coming to people that aren't diehard wrestling fans.
Right.
You need something to introduce your contracted talent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, maybe have a little introductory vignette before they came out to the ring, and then when they were coming on before they had their matches and stuff. Hey
Mm-hmm.
Matt, how you doing?
Good, how are you,
Who does
Reese?
it? Yeah, but yeah, let the audience who aren't like major wrestling fans get used to who these AEW talents are, so that
Mm-hmm.
way they know. All right, we know like what these guys are about. We know about their signature moves and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I always felt like if you're going to call yourself all elite wrestling, don't have your superstars losing because at some point, like when you actually get established enough to where you're having the pay-per-views and the championship matches, where it's like, all right, we know these guys are your superstars. These guys are going to be your enhancement talent.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you kind of 50-50 book them, then
Mm-hmm.
you kind of run that scenario where you're kind of turning your superstars into like maybe semi jobbers or like 50-50 stars.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, and I do agree
Yep.
with Vinny. Like some of them are not even real wrestling fans; they're trolls. But
Yeah,
I think the deeper issue is the toxicity is just not in our community. It's also with the wrestlers as well. As much as they don't want to admit it, they spread their negativity as well. So you can't get on the fans for being trash when you're doing the same thing that fans is doing right now. You know what I'm saying? It's never been this bad. This shit started getting bad as soon as AEW got on the scene. That's when shit got worse. Even in between TNA and WWE, it was never this bad. You know what I'm saying? Because like number one, everyone liked TNA. Everyone enjoyed TNA. TNA wasn't even a threat to the WWE, even though they was in the same day, Monday Night Wars, or night, or whatever you want to call it. And the thing is that right now, fans, WWE fans, this is the ones I'm talking to, and then I'll get on the AEW fans in a minute. The problem is with these loyal WWE fans, they don't know how the fuck to act. That's the problem. They don't know how to act because they think that another company is taking the WWE shine. That is the issue that's going on right now. They don't want to admit this shit. So if they don't want to admit it, if you cannot openly talk about it, what you're going to do? You're going to troll. You're going to troll, and it's going to spread around like wildfire. This person got something to say. That person got something to say. That person got something to say. And everybody that is saying this shit has no merit behind what they're saying. What they're saying is they're just saying, hey, I hate them too. Like random shit. Like, I hate them too. Why do you hate it? Oh, well, they talk about the WWE too much, but then yet TNA Moose was just talking about Zack Ryder yesterday, saying that he was the Intercontinental Champion and all he can be is a mid-card. So where was the feedback with that? See, that's what I'm saying. See, fans like to pick their battles. But then when you bring facts to them, when you throw this back in their face, it's like they're saying to you, you're a bully. You're doing too much. I don't like what you're saying to me. What about the black? Oh, this is another one too, and then I'm gonna shut the fuck up. Black wrestlers. Let's talk about that shit. Black wrestlers. Let's talk about the WWE's history in black wrestlers when it comes to WWE champions. Before Kofi Kingston, how many WWE champions that were black? I'll wait. Okay. African Americans that be treated like shit. Why it seems like they are so quick to bring up a black person's record, but then when it comes to DUIs or whatever, the Usos is like, oh, well, we're not going to talk about them because they're related to The Rock. I mean, Triple H had a DUI. Shawn Michaels had. We're not going to even get into Shawn Michaels' career. But all I'm saying is this: is that when you want to sit back, you want to talk about black people, and then you say, "Oh, well, AEW's not doing this." Why is it so important for you to have a black wrestler like to be champion versus the WWE? You like the WWE so damn much. So why don't you push for more people to have that spotlight? We did. One got killed in 9 seconds. The other one got killed in 26 seconds. And it just seems like we don't want to talk about that at all. I feel some type of way when I talk about that. Well, I don't give a fuck how you feel, because you're not going to spread that negativity in this community, and you don't want to sit down and actually have a conversation about this. But then yet you want to sit in a fucking group and you want to continue to run your fucking mouth, and then you have no fucking like meaning behind what you're saying. It just does not make no sense. I'm gonna shut up. I'm sorry.
Then just tonight we just saw Sami Zayn tonight just freaking lose to Roman Reigns in like however much time was left. Before that, he got F5'd and then suplex city'd by Brock Lesnar.
That's another thing too that I wanted to bring up too. Why it seems like they want to get on old folks in AEW, but then yet they want to cater to Goldberg. That part I don't get. Now, AEW fans, I'm a AEW fan. I swear up and down, I am an AEW fan. It's no secret, okay? But the problem is with AEW fans, AEW fans think that they can't do no wrong. They think that they're taking over the WWE. That's not going to happen. WWE has been around for ages and ages and ages and ages. AEW fans is so quick. I mean, they're literally disgruntled fans from the WWE. And how I know this because I was a WWE fan for a time. And when I went to go see something that I always wanted to see, AEW welcomed me with open arms. And that is why I love AEW so much. But I am not one of them fans that is going to throw this shit in the WWE's face unless I need to. I think that I don't need to do that shit because number one, at the end of the day, I am a wrestling fan. I don't need to throw this shit up in people's face. That's like me throwing up New Japan Wrestling in WWE's like WWE's fans' faces. Why do I need to do that? This is wrestling. This shit is stupid. You know what I'm saying? We supposed to enjoy wrestling, right? We supposed to go to these arenas, enjoy the talent, right? So why the fuck can we not do it? It does not depend what company we are supporting. We're supporting wrestling. So I'm trying to figure out like what is the problem?
And and then
Go
one
ahead.
other thing I saw today, people were also that one spot. I haven't seen the match yet, but people were making the spot of Cody Rhodes and I think it was Andrade. They
Mm-hmm.
went through that flaming table or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
and all the fans were jumping on Cody for that when
Mm-hmm.
back in, I think it was WrestleMania 21, I want to
22.
say. Yeah, 22. Mick
Mm-hmm.
Foley and Edge did the same shit. And they didn't say anything about that. Like, and they were on Cody about it.
No, Bet, to respond to that one just a little bit. The reason people don't get Edge and Foley was they actually did their spot correctly.
Correct.
Because, and plus, not to mention, there was always, and plus, it tied in a little bit more to the story for Edge and Foley because, well, yeah, because Foley, of course, being a hardcore guy and whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and Edge was kind of mocking him for it. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why that kind of played in. But
Okay.
with the spot with Cody and Andrade Wednesday night, yeah, I can understand there was heat, no pun intended, to
Mm-hmm.
their matchup. But the thing was, I don't know whether the suplex went wrong or whether they put the table too close or whatever, but it was like, dude,
It was completely
Andrade.
off.
Yeah.
Plus two, Cody actually saved Andrade if you really look at it because his face was technically right where Cody's arm was, but
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cody took the brunt end of it because he didn't want Andrade to burn his face.
Yeah, because he was actually in the burning table,
Yeah,
not
Yeah.
Andrade.
yeah,
But they, I mean, I was like, how the fuck did you get the pinfall? You didn't even go through the table, and he was still on fire too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey Ty, what's up?
Hello. Hello, everyone.
Hey,
Can
how
you
you
hear me?
doing?
I'm
Yes,
Hey,
I
Ty.
fine.
can hear you. Hi, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Hi.
It's your first time.
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. Welcome to Hashtag Heals for
I'm a
Life.
little
So
shy.
don't worry about
No,
it.
no worries, bro.
Don't worry about it. So, what makes you want to come on tonight?
um, I'm just a wrestling fan
Mm-hmm.
for a very long time, and I'm very had this love and hate relationship with wrestling, and very passionate about wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
But now I have to speak on this topic because I think that wrestling fans are just very passionate wrestling fans. They love
Mm-hmm.
everything about wrestling. They
Mm-hmm.
they do everything about wrestling, but however, some of us take things too far when it comes to being
Mm-hmm.
passionate about wrestling. If
Mm-hmm.
someone say anything negative about wrestling, we just grab a pitchfork or a knife and just ready to go. That's how we are. But
Mm-hmm.
some of us, we are not like that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
more of a open minded when it comes to wrestling, but also at the same time, I like to be honest as well when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to
Mm-hmm.
certain topics and things.
Mm-hmm.
So go on.
There is nothing wrong with there's nothing wrong with being honest.
Yeah.
I want people to
Chris
know.
Chris Street straight up true facts right there. He just
Yeah, because I've been doing this for 10 years, and each time I go on the air, I know I'm going to say something that people are not going to like, obviously. But the problem is that I'm not going to
he's
cater
not
to
gonna
your.
hide it.
I'm not, because I'm a bad liar. I can't hide it, especially if something I'm very passionate about it. And Ty, I get what you're saying, because if you're lying and you're very passionate about it, you're only lying to yourself. You know what I'm saying? It just I don't get why this
Self, yeah,
yeah, like I don't get why fans today have to be just "Arr!" Like I'm going to kill them. Like it's like, oh, you're enjoying this shit. Well, I'm going to make sure that you don't enjoy it with my bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like every fucking group that I see on social media, it's like
yeah, I
they
get
do the
you.
same fucking shit. It's like a recorder. It's like rewind, fast forward again, and it's like, dude, do you not get tired of this shit?
Yeah, like that one cat, Chris, I think you posted it on your personal page. You screenshotted that one
Yes,
cat. I was
yes,
like, what the frick?
yeah. See, that person right there, I think he has some loose screws or something
Like
like
that
that,
one,
because
like
yeah.
the what was it? What did you call him?
Moist bucket, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
the guy that dropped the barricade.
Oh, Carl Winslow,
Yeah,
yeah,
Carl
like
Winslow.
yes,
Yeah,
Listen,
yes, Carl Winslow, yeah. I don't know what the fuck was dude problem, but that's just not, and that's another
he
thing
did
too.
it for The Rock. He did it for the my people.
he did that for The Rock.
He did it for The Rock. He did it for the Samoan people, and the
Yeah.
motherfucker is not even Samoan. That's the part that I did not understand.
Yep.
But
he's a part
everyone,
of he's a part of wrestling problem. So
right?
He's
And
lucky Seth didn't do anything to him. Because if that was back in the day, like Stone Cold era, he would have got the shit beat out of him.
yes, because like
No pun intended.
oh
I think
yeah,
Seth Rollins
definitely.
was a I think Seth Rollins was a little bit too much of a marshmallow to get up and talk about. Oh, come on, boy. Is that better? Why you didn't beat his ass? Like, dude tackled you. Why you didn't attempt to kill him? Like, for real. When they jump that barricade, that's when it's time for you to beat that ass. Like, for real. You ain't gonna touch me, and then you talk about,
If
well, I'm entitled to do this because somebody named Toby was lying to me online, and you telling me that you can't distinguish between fantasy and reality. Like, I don't get it. And he did it for the
some people
three
are
three
dumb.
thousand pound check. That is some bullshit. Like, dude, like, so you gonna beat somebody ass,
Ah,
right, bro? Like, you
yo,
gonna beat
Kev,
somebody ass and they
that was
gave you a
hilarious.
bounce check? That nigga, you stupid for that. You dumb as shit. But
But
welcome, Chris.
also too,
Go
Chris,
ahead.
it's a different it, it's a different time period now, and we all as fans, a lot of us,
Mm-hmm.
grew up in the 90s where we had no internet, nothing.
Correct.
The fans
Mm-hmm.
that are coming up are being brought up nowadays.
Yeah,
It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of the bullshit,
he had the
you,
title.
yeah,
They're entitled.
yep,
Ty, you hit the nail right on the head.
yep,
They're entitled, and
It's a true
they're
title.
entitled. Yeah, and
It's
and, and that's why we having the problems now online, is because some of these fans feel that AEW shouldn't exist. They think that WWE should run everything, even though WWE has been trashed for the past 10 years. And people are going to say, okay, Chris, you're being biased. No, I'm not being biased, because I have been dealing with this shit for the past 10 fucking years.
Yep.
And I've been trying to be patient. I was just like these fans
Yeah.
out here, the entitled fans out there. And I tried to tell them, I tried to be a WWE fan. I tried my hardest to be patient with them. How much patience do I fucking need? To the point where I just said, I'm done.
And here's the point: is like WWE, and I'll even throw this back to the golden era. Like WWE had a lot of stuff that they did right, but at the same time, they also had a lot of stuff that they did wrong. The difference
Right.
is that during those times when they had stuff wrong, they would either come up with a quick way to abort the storyline,
Right.
but yet still give it a conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
So that way they can, like, all right, we'll cut our losses quickly before we do any long term damage. Whereas now they'll just drop it. They'll just drop storylines, or they'll just like do a quick rewrite because they're like, okay,
Oh, they'll release them due to budget
yeah.
cuts.
So don't get me. I
Cass,
was
what's
waiting
going
for
on
that line.
from I think he's from
He's from
For
Twitch.
Twitch.
yeah, he's from Twitch. What's going on? What's going on, bro? Can't even get it out. So Cass said that WWE is not meant for kids of the 90s anymore. Today's product is meant for kids of today. You know what?
He has a point there, but
He
true.
does, but then at the same time, it might be for kids, but wrestling is wrestling at the end of the day. There shouldn't be no divide. Going back to your comment, there shouldn't be a divide at all.
no.
The prop. Hold on one second. Hold on. Let's see. Ty, did you just log back in? Hold on, I might have to remove
Because I
this.
didn't see her drop. All right,
Hold on.
Yeah.
I
I
didn't
don't
think
know.
I saw it drop off.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Just, oh, wait. Okay. All right. Let me add her back. Ty, you still there? Ty?
Here.
Probably that's me.
Okay, there she go. Okay.
I'm
But
here.
yeah, like I was saying,
I'm here.
can you hear us?
I'm here.
Okay,
Okay.
awesome. Okay, so get on this. There shouldn't be a divide. We're all the same. We all enjoy
I'm
wrestling.
here.
Okay, I can hear you. You good? Okay.
Just having a sound issue real quick.
Okay.
Just to
Yeah.
get myself straightened out.
So like I
Yeah.
was saying before, that there shouldn't be a divide. The problem is that, like I said, there are fans that are entitled. There are fans that are angry. There are fans that believe that when it comes to wrestling, it's the WWE and the WWE only. And there are also fans that are just straight toxic. That's just the bottom line.
Yep.
And that's where we're at right now. You know, I mean, we can sit
Right.
back and we can talk like all night and try to come up with different solutions. I just think that we have Trumpism out there. We have sexism. We have
Stalkers.
So we have a very negative type of environment that we're dealing with right now. And I just think that this is going to get worse.
Yep.
And yeah, you're right. This is bigger than wrestling. This issue is much bigger than wrestling. And I want it to end badly, but it's just go ahead, y'all.
Yeah. I would throw this where we're really heading. I don't know if anybody remembers this, but y'all remember, I think it was either last year or year before, there was a comedian by the name of Tom Segura, and he basically was calling wrestling fans retarded.
Oh yeah, I think I sent that to you, Chris. A while, like when it first came out, and
Yeah.
it was a video
Mm-hmm.
a while back.
Yeah. That's pretty much where I think wrestling fans now are almost heading. Because y'all remember, like, for as long as you've been a fan, that there were always certain people that under no circumstance to no end would badmouth wrestling like it was damn near religion.
Mhm.
That they would find any and everything negative about wrestling and they would like haul off into it at no end. It's almost ironic that now we're almost doing those people's work for them because every time we're going after somebody,
Mhm.
whether it's AEW versus WWE or hell, whether it's WWE versus WWE,
Mhm.
we're pretty
Mhm.
much saying, oh, wait a minute, why do we need to talk about how bad wrestling fans are? We'll just
Mhm.
step back and let the so-called fans do our dirty work for us.
Correct. Everybody, I'm going to put the link up. So if you guys want to come in and you want to talk live, this is the time to do it because I don't think we're going to do this
Yeah.
again. We might have a part 2, but it really all depends on like how this show goes. So I'm going to put the link up one more time. Come in, just jump in if you guys want to talk. All right.
And Chris,
Yes. Go ahead.
okay. But I just wanted to add, I know I probably have said this in the comments before,
Mm-hmm.
but there was a one point in time, Chris, and I'm sure everyone's felt this way.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting frustrated with the wrestling industry, more importantly WWE at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I went through a phase where it was just like, I stopped watching it and
Mm-hmm.
I was getting frustrated because they weren't pushing certain people and whatever. And then once AEW came or, you know, uh, whatever, I turned it on and I watched it. At first, wasn't into it at first. I watched it when Moxley came, the week of that pay-per-view he came back.
Mm-hmm.
I sat down, I watched it, and I was getting frustrated with that too. Like, why are they keeping track of wins and losses? Like, I didn't get it at first. Now I started watching it more, and what turned me over to them was Cole, Brian, and then Ruby Soho. Though, because those three people I've watched since WWE, pre WWE, a lot of them, and then Cole in NXT as well, which he
Mm-hmm.
had a great run in NXT. And
Mm-hmm.
he said it in past podcasts that he has nothing against Triple H or Hunter. I mean, Triple H or Shawn.
Mm-hmm.
And but moral of the story is since AEW came, I've like starting loving pro wrestling again.
That's
It's
what's
just
up.
you know,
Because
Jazz, how you doing?
Hello, guys. How are y'all?
hey
Is this
Kaz,
your
pretty good.
first time on the show?
It is.
It is, yes. Yes, yes. Well, welcome to the show. God damn, y'all are really on fire tonight. Oh my God. So,
Boy.
Kaz, what's up? What you got to talk about?
Let me tell you something.
Oh.
But going back to what Matthew just said a moment ago, it was actually NXT that brought me back to wrestling. My love for what they were doing when Triple H was getting off
yeah,
the Indie Spectacular. Now,
Mm-hmm.
granted, they're not doing that anymore, but that's what brought me back to loving wrestling again. Was
yeah,
old
when
NXT.
Triple H, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not going to talk about what it is today because I have not watched it in a long, long time.
Yeah, Sunday
Mhm.
will probably be the first time I watch NXT because War Games has been my favorite pay-per-view that they do because of the two rings and the cage. That I wish the main roster would do, but it will never happen. But I digress.
I think the main problem with this is 2.0, so we don't know that this is not the Triple H regime. This is under Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard shit. And that's the issue that I'm going to be having this Sunday. And I'm gonna watch the shit, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna watch it just like everybody else, on the cock. I'm gonna be watching it, but there's just on the cock. It's just the only problem is that I don't know what to expect from this. I don't know what to expect with this
Yeah, and
2.0 shit.
I'm gonna tell you this now, and I talk with friends outside of the podcast as well that are wrestling fans,
Mm-hmm.
and they made a great point, and I agree. Whoever, like, let's say, because there's two champions in, well, yeah, in each match there's a major champion, like Champa, and then you got Mandy Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
So what they said was, and I've talked about this, was whoever is not the champion at this point in time, whoever pins the champion, which
Number
it's
one
happened in
contender.
the past, will be the champion whenever whenever they fight whoever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's happened in the past, like Rhea Ripley pinned Shayna Baszler in the War Games match. She
Mhm.
went on to win the NXT title. Same thing with
Raquel Gonzalez and Io
Raquel.
Shirai last year.
Yes. Yep.
Mhm.
Both of them went on to win the championship. So
Mhm.
I'm interested to see if they Cora Jade, which she's like a skateboarder, she's like a tomboy type deal. If cause she's already pinned Mandy Rhodes once. If they let her get the pin in this match, it might be a push, like Nappy Boy always says, it might be a push,
Mm.
but or a reach.
Mhm.
But I have a feeling they're gonna push her. She'll pin Mandy, and eventually will win the title for Mandy Rhodes.
So let's get to some of these comments because some of these comments are interesting. So Tam said, last time I regularly watched the WWE when they fucked up by
my
not
God.
capitalizing on Nakamura and
Timothy.
Yep.
Oscar Royal Rumble wins. Yeah, see,
Ooh,
Well, the
that
first,
Timothy,
the
that
first
hit a
one,
One
the
sore
at a
spot
second
time.
with
one,
me too.
Asuka.
One at a time.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Reese.
Yep.
Oh, Timothy, you hit a sore spot with me with bringing this comment up
Mm.
because
Hmm. He ain't
oh,
lying
and
about that
especially
one.
because this was in Philly too, and
Oh, that part.
ex hometown too. So, but oh my God, WWE could not have done two worse screw ups than not only ending Asuka's undefeated streak at WrestleMania against Charlotte,
Mm.
but then
Mm.
the Styles and Nakamura match, which,
Mm.
by the way, you had everybody going on a rampage, and they were definitely all about that more than Roman versus Brock Part 2 at WrestleMania. But I digress.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, how Styles and Nakamura was not the main event, I don't know. And second of all, you turn Shinsuke heel after he loses and don't go anywhere with it. And I was like, don't get it twisted. Like, AJ was having a phenomenal run, no pun intended, as WWE heel up to that point. But, dude, Nakamura was just as hot coming into that point, and y'all already had him lose twice the gender of all people, which
Oh God.
that's already was a stupid ass decision. If you wanted a perfect makeup, yeah, Nakamura winning at Mania would have done it.
Mm-hmm. Dare said that he was more upset about Oscar losing to Charlotte Flair.
Yep, I was too, honestly, because when they gave Asuka the Rumble win, I for sure thought she was gonna win the title that night. Cause it happens more optional than not.
Don't hinder gender.
I will hinder gender.
Yes, I will.
Gender
Right.
can go
Because
away, honestly.
I don't understand that part about gender hinder. I mean, I don't understand about him because, like, number one, they used him as a whore. They used him as a prostitute to get more Indian fans to join the WWE network universe or whatever the fuck you want to call that shit. The issue is that number one, the nigga is from he's a Canadian, number one. And then number two, he wasn't even a good champion.
No, he
Like
wasn't.
he was trash. Like, I mean, dude, you put a fucking turkey in the oven for 45 minutes and then thinking that this is going to be tasting good. No, it's trash.
No.
It's trash. And they talk about
Wow.
don't gender. What?
And then he has that new tall guy or whatever his name is with the freaking tape
Shanky.
on his head.
Yeah,
Like,
Kaz, can you throw anything you want to say up in there, man?
Yes,
Well,
it's
he
the floor
wasn't
is
even
yours.
a successful prostitute, right? I mean,
That's facts.
they put all that effort into building Jinder up and let's get into that Indian market.
Mm-hmm.
But what ended up happening? Nothing. One of the least eventful championship reigns in WWE history, and it didn't expand their market at all in the
No,
India
No.
territory.
no,
And
it
then you had
didn't.
him lose in India to Triple H to top it all off.
Of course, it's Triple H. Come on.
Yeah, that's
Uh, Jesus Christ.
And honestly, before they changed Baron Corbin to what he is now, when he had the long hair, I was there when he was supposedly when he cashed in his briefcase and John Cena had to fuck that up. Pardon my English, but he fucked up the cash in.
Do you believe that almost about to come is the black version of the Great Khali?
oh damn.
I mean, yeah, because he can't wrestle for shit. Honestly. No
I
pun
haven't.
intended, but he cannot. The only reason he is where he is because of AJ freaking Styles. That's the only reason where he is.
I mean,
I will go
I
that
can't
far, but
can't dispute that.
I would say this though,
Because
because
if you
we're
really
only
look
looking
at
at Omos on camera though.
because if you really
I mean,
look at it,
that's even worse.
he was the security guard for Raw Underground. What does that freaking tell you? Honestly,
See, I didn't even know that part.
yes.
I didn't know that.
And the
I,
same shit with Commander Aziz, aka Daba Kato.
Daba Daba.
Daba Daba, yes.
Wow,
Double double double.
that sounds like some Flintstone shit. Like straight up. Dead ass.
I'd buy that T-shirt. Gobble gobble gobble. I'd buy that T-shirt.
Daba, 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 daba. This is what. All right, so let's kind of go into the heart of the matter. Okay, now a lot of us is upset with the WWE because we put them on this high pedestal because they've been around for so long, and and that's fine because the WWE has like done some great shit for all of us. Like, you know, we all grew up on the WWE. I get it. But the problem is that it's fans like us that has evolved and decide to leave the nest. That's what I did. I left the nest. I decided to look at New Japan Wrestling. I decided to look at different promotions. I said, oh, there are other wrestling companies other than the WWE. But the problem is now is that fans, like Ty said earlier, they're entitled. They're entitled to say, oh, well, the WWE needs to get back on their shit. They need to go back to the Attitude Era. But wasn't you talking about that you didn't like the Attitude Era in the first place because they had too much nudity and bad storylines or whatever? But then when AEW is doing Attitude shit, now you want the WWE to be doing Attitude shit. So I'm trying to figure out, like, where is the why is so much bipolarism in the wrestling community?
I couldn't tell you, Chris, honestly. Like, the same thing when they do... and it's funny because a lot of people nowadays look for more botches than anything to get on a person's shit for a botch. And I'm sure they watch that Botchamania shit. It's funny, but then again, everyone looks for that shit. And then they get, like the Cody thing, they get on his ass.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It could go for anybody, honestly.
Someone said this to me before, and Reese, I'm gonna let you get into this. Someone said this about JR. They said that when JR went to AEW, and I want to put out this point. When JR went to AEW after being fired from the WWE, I don't know how many times, like they totally disrespected him. They wished death on not only JR, but also on Daniel Bryan.
Hey,
Everyone
I
that
remember
went
the
to
story.
everyone that went to AEW, WWE fans have wished death on these people. Recently, JR was diagnosed for skin cancer.
I seen that.
Remember, so I want people to know this. Watch what the fuck you say. Because that shit can't come in existence, just like what's going on right now. because a lot of you out there is evil as shit. And yet you sit back and you swear up and down you are a wrestling fan. You are not a wrestling fan when you are going over to people's houses and then and having that entitlement of getting a signature because you're a fan. That entitlement that if you get gypped out of $3,000, that I'm entitled to beat your ass, even though it wasn't even the person that you wasn't even talking to online. You're entitled because you're a dedicated wrestling fan. What the fuck that means? I mean, like, dude, I like wrestling just like the next person, but y'all attitudes need to really fucking change.
Yep.
I'm so
Well,
serious.
that's not a wrestling issue. That's a humanity issue. You know,
True.
no matter what
That's
we're
right.
talking about, wrestling, movies, sports, politics, there's always going to be people that have extreme viewpoints. And I'm not going to blame it on being a wrestling fan. It's people that need to work on themselves more than anything.
But bro, we would before you came on. I think you came on before we was actually getting into this issue. Why it seems like in 2000, in between 2000 and 2010, we have never had this problem. Even during the Monday Night Wars, we have never had this problem.
Yeah, it's the internet. It's the ability to sit
Yep.
behind a keyboard
Dave
and be
Meltzer.
anonymous and dip dop dip dop dip. We didn't have that in the 90s.
Well,
It's available now.
oh,
Internet.
we kind of did have it in the 90s, but it wasn't
I
as
didn't. You were
prevalent.
cool. You were cool.
Yeah.
I didn't.
But it was
Yeah.
just like it wasn't as prevalent in the 90s as it was like after the turn of the century and stuff like that because
Mhm.
no, because like a lot of people didn't. Yeah, it's like a lot of people like kind of got into it like after the millennium started because that's when WWE started putting up a lot of their stuff. If you remember, like I think it was 2000, that's when they started doing WWF the superstars name.com or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it kind of got a little bit more into that. And then when companies started putting out, like when YouTube kind of became a thing, and hell, even MySpace was first around. And then when companies started putting their programs up on there when they couldn't get TV deals, and so they could get some exposure for their respective companies.
Look at what Tim said.
That's what happened. Yeah. All right, leaving the WWE bubble and going to AEW or anything that's not WWE is when I ditched saltines when I was 6 after only having saltines my whole life and finally trying to change.
I don't know what you're talking about, Tim. I like wheat thins.
And
That's
listen,
an interesting analogy there, man.
very
You know?
interesting. Like you.
But I get what he's saying with that one, Stream.
Yeah.
I mean, comparing salties to Ritz crackers. I mean, which one is salties? Which one is that?
I'm guessing the WWE or the saltines in this case.
Oh, really? Oh, I thought that was the Ritz crackers. I mean, Ritz crackers have been around for a while.
Hot take.
That was.
And also too, Chris,
Yeah.
with fans nowadays, and Ty said it, the wrestling forum started it all. When you got people on there like Dave Meltzer, you got other promotional
Alvarez.
shit like that. Yeah, and fans actually believe them.
I mean, they come up with all these fucking excuses. I mean, they even named Dave Meltzer as Uncle Dave.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to his fucking house? I'm not gonna ever like call somebody my fucking uncle and I don't know him. I mean, like, you know, he got the inside information. He knows some of these wrestlers. He's actually best friends with some of these wrestlers. Okay, I get it. But at the end of the day, do you work for the WWE? No, you do not. You're an insider just like everybody else. You are speculating. You don't have the actual information because if you did, you would be working for the WWE right now. You're a journalist. And that's where people need to stay in their fucking lane instead of like saying, well, I got all of these scoops and all this other bullshit. No, you don't.
No, you got all the scoops coming out of your butt. That's where they got that coming from.
Well, that's very moist, but
Yep.
whatever.
But you know, Chris,
Um,
it's interesting
No.
you brought that point up
We don't.
because yeah, you know, this is the thing where fans really take advantage of this stuff. And I remember I said this on our last podcast that fans need to take, like The Rock would say, they need to know their role. You are an audience, nothing more, nothing less. You're not the one. You're not the creative team. You're damn sure not the owners. You're not even a booker. You're just the audience. Your sole job is to let wrestlers know, okay, are you doing stuff that's to making us draw a reaction out of you?
And when you're doing that as a heel and you're making them mad, making them feel some type of way, you're doing your job.
And
But
if you're a face, if you're like saying this stuff or doing whatever it can to like make you want to beat that heel's ass even worse, there you go.
But now we got like faces being booed. That brings me to Cody Rhodes. So what's going on with that, y'all? Like what's
I think everybody thinks because him and the Young Bucks and Kenny, before Tony Khan took over, they feel like because he used to run the scenes backstage or whatever, that he's entitled and he's booking stuff when he's really not. That's why Tony Khan took over. Because they didn't want to have him think like favoritism per se. With like his friends and stuff or whatever.
But they were executive producers in the back, executive presidents. I mean, they literally started the company.
Yeah.
So like
and then I don't know. I just feel like they think that because Cody was like you said, exclusive or whatever it was, and he did some of the stuff backstage, that he would put him and his buddies over, which it never happened.
No.
You know what I mean? And
no.
Yeah, because y'all look at that first like year or so in AEW, the Bucks were nowhere near the tag team title.
Yeah,
they had a couple
Cody
of matches.
No, they wasn't.
No, and Cody was nowhere near the AEW title either.
Yeah, that's why I don't understand.
And remember, he had the match with Jericho at their first pay-per-view where it's like, oh, if I lose the match, I can't challenge for the AEW championship again.
Yeah, right. And he immediately took himself off. And like I was thinking, like he was like, probably gonna interject himself back in the
but he
AEW,
never did.
And he never did. And
the only title he went for was the TNT title, the mid-card title, which eventually went to the Brody Lee. And then after that, they had to obviously relinquish the title. And then Nero had it. So, and he hasn't been in the title picture since, if you really look at it.
So, like, my whole thing is, and Ziggy said that they did not want a Jeff Jarrett situation. Jeff Jarrett is the main person where you don't want to be in his shoes. This man was a promoter and also making himself a champion. So I get where y'all was talking about with that, because you don't want to be a promoter and then make yourself champion.
Right.
That's kind of like conflict of interest. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Hang on one second. And then they said Kenny Omega got buried in the beginning. No, I wouldn't say buried.
No.
I wouldn't say buried. The thing about it is that, once again, fans want to be entitled. They wanted Kenny Omega to be the cleaner. They wanted him to be the cleaner gimmick or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, King was taking like major losses.
Yeah.
Like that first year.
Yeah.
And then
Pac. Let's see. He lost to Moxley.
Yeah.
In that lights out match.
Lost to Jericho.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And Jericho was the first champion because, like you said it, Chris, they needed somebody like Jericho, like Jericho, to hold the title for a little bit just to get, AEW noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
And then people want to come and say, oh, like, Kenny should have been champion first, or now we got Hangman. They wanted to push Hangman, but Hangman, they did a good job with, pushing him in the background, and
Mm-hmm.
then
Mm-hmm.
they built him up, and they're
Mm-hmm.
doing the same thing with Jungle Boy.
And that is the problem. I think I'm starting to see this now. This is like an ongoing issue with these fans. The problem is that they got an issue with AEW because the shit that they doing in AEW, they're not doing in WWE.
Nope.
That's the problem.
Hey, let me go to Kaz. How long have you followed wrestling for?
Oh, I can remember watching Hulk Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior live on pay-per-view back in the day.
So 90. So all right, that's what I think. Matt, how about yourself?
I started watching wrestling like 5 and 6 back in like the Austin era.
All right, awesome.
And
okay.
like Hogan and them were there when I started watching it, but they were like on their way out, and they had already made the jump over to WCW.
All right, so kind of like mid 90ish. All right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There's a reason I brought it because Chris actually mentioned something
Mm-hmm.
when he brought up Ty's point about the whole bearing thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because let me tell y'all something. Y'all want to talk about burials and how fans misuse this term grossly still to this day? Yeah.
That's some gruesome shit. No, sorry.
Yeah. I'll give you two of the worst examples of how fans would have really misused this term. And Kaz, that's why I asked you how far you went back. Because since you said 90, do you remember when Bret Hart was in the Hart Foundation? When it was just Anvil and Hitman by themselves?
Mm.
Yes, sir.
Mm.
Yeah, and you remembered they lost quite a bit. And it was like almost between their first run and their second was like almost 2-3 years since they had the tag team titles. Yeah. And you remember, and hell, even when the Hart Foundation broke up after they lost to the Nasty Boys at WrestleMania 7, remember, Bret was still kind of a little in between before he had that Intercontinental win over Mr. Perfect.
Mm.
And again, I'll even throw Shawn Michaels' name to the match because the Rockers really didn't win that many major matches on pay-per-view, and Shawn's single run kind of wasn't all that either when it first came in. So you think about how those two guys who eventually wound up becoming two of the most dominant men in the mid 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you think those guys would have even got those positions if like the fans were saying, "Oh, they're getting buried, they're getting buried."
And they don't even know the term. Mr. Willis, first time caller. How you doing, sir?
I'm all right. Listening to y'all with the conversation about the wrestling and AEW and WWE. The fans now are not used to long-term booking. They're used to the stuff that they grew up with, the Attitude Era in WCW, where everything was just crash booking and everything finished in a month storyline. They don't know how to take the long burns like we used to back in the days when Hogan and Macho Man was doing their year-long program at WrestleMania between 4 and 5 and build up the Warrior fighting Hogan and all the stuff in NWA with Dusty Rhodes and the Four Horsemen, Magnum TA, and all that when they used to stretch out the storylines. So that's why they hate AEW now, because AEW went back to old school wrestling as booking terms. So they not used to that no more.
I read recently how Tony Khan had laid out what his first 4 world champions were going to be. Believe that or not, whatever. But can you honestly tell me Vince McMahon knows who his next world champion is going to be right now after Roman Reigns or Big E?
Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not.
Right now, it's gonna go to Brock Lesnar.
So
Sure.
so Cass, so let me talk to you real quick about this.
Okay, sir.
How in the fuck can a sane wrestling fan from the WWE, talk about WWE fan, how in the fuck can you get upset with someone from AEW that's enjoying their product over there, getting the long-term storylines, people being built up in the back, and then meanwhile in the WWE, they can't even distinguish between short-term booking, long-term booking, but then yet you want to get on AEW for what? So my question to you is, like, is this a humanity issue, or is this like I'm just gonna hate on you just to be hating on you?
Well, I mean, it goes back to what I said when I originally joined the stream. WWE these days, they're not promoting their product to us. Men who grew up in the 90s have a deep knowledge of wrestling history and can communicate it. They're marketing their product to children. Why? Because they want to make that money, man. They want to get that cash. And, the parents buying all that merchandise for their children, that's where it's at. We're not going to spend as much money as kids are going to demand their parents buy for them. And what are kids these days not used to? Long-term booking. Because when was the last time WWE actually did that? It's been a long time since WWE actually did any sort of serious long-term booking.
Probably the Austin McMahon feud.
Yeah, so they're not used to that sort of thing. So it's children lashing out at something else that's popular. It's immaturity. That's all it is. Not to call WWE fans immature, but
it's like, I don't want to call them immature either, but based on their actions for the past couple of years,
just because it's different doesn't mean it's bad. That's like, personally, I've completely stopped watching WWE. I used to be a network subscriber. I used to watch Raw every week. I used to watch the pay-per-views. I didn't even watch the Royal Rumble this year. That's how far I've fallen off the WWE bandwagon. Because they are not doing anything that I personally enjoy watching, seeing. So I'm not going to support them with my eyes, with my wallet. Who I am supporting is AEW, because that is what is, personally for me, giving me the most enjoyment. But I'm not going to knock WWE fans. I'm not going to say, you're a stupid, no good so-and-so just because you like WWE.
Right.
Have fun with it. Just don't knock me because of what I'm enjoying over here.
I would address. Oh, go ahead, man.
I can tell you my last straw with WWE is when they had the house show. I mean, not the house show, the draft show up in Baltimore. I paid $120 for a ticket, and the main show was only like 4 matches. They only lasted like 30 minutes. The rest of the show was nothing but talking. I went to the draft show up in Baltimore, the SmackDown.
Oh, you went to a SmackDown show. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I went to the Grand Slam joint up in New York. From the time the show came on, from the time the show went off at 12:15, it was wrestling from beginning to end.
Wow.
So I was like, man, this just sucked. I even went to WrestleMania 35, and I almost fell asleep at some point, especially when the Roman Reigns match came out. I was so bored. People was doing the wave in the stands and shit. That's how much they wasn't paying attention in that match.
And that is
after 7 hours worth of wrestling,
and you know what? Honestly, I've never been to a WrestleMania. I wanted to go to WrestleMania 22, 23, 24, and 25. I wanted to go there, but like I just didn't have the money, and then I didn't have people to go with. You know what I'm saying? Because motherfuckers like to be flaky, but that's a different story for a different day. We do got a question from Tim. He said, "How do you guys think AEW will pan out if they had the idea to bring the Elite to either TNT or TBS? Do you think it will bring the casual fans over from the WWE, or do you think it will kill the magic? Well, honestly, matter of fact, we can go around the room. We can answer this question. Matter of fact, I'm gonna keep this on the screen. Uh, the magic is going to be there. Does not matter like what channel they go to.
Yeah.
AEW fans are just hardcore. They in love with fucking AEW. AEW is hard to fucking get a ticket. I mean, they are the hottest game in fucking town right now. They are red, white hot right now. Going to TBS and bringing over WWE fans, I don't think that's going to actually change anything, because WWE fans, the one thing I can tell you about WWE fans, they're stuck in their ways. And yeah, AEW fans are OG WWE fans. He's right, because I'm one of them.
Mike,
So
you got that right, man.
go ahead, Reese. Did you want to respond to Tim?
Yeah. As far as being the elite goes, which by the way is a hilarious show up on here. I don't think it would have much of an impact because see, with being on YouTube, like at least AEW could get to somewhat have a little more leeway with their content.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if they were on a network, then they'd have to deal with the executives and stuff. So I would say leave being the elite as its own thing, so that way, hey, they don't AEW doesn't have to answer anybody to it.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like their what they would do as far as like Dynamite and Rampage going, and with Dynamite heading over to TBS, and I'm sure Wildman will probably attest to this a little bit more. Probably still with Kaz as well, because TBS has a more than noted history of wrestling than TNT did, because TNT basically only had Nitro,
Mm-hmm.
whereas TBS, you had, of course, WCW Saturday Night, the old World Championship Wrestling show before that. Also, Power Hour. You had the main event on Sunday, and of course, the Clash of the Champions specials that always came on.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like that. TBS has a more noted history with professional wrestling than TNT did. Now, of course, there's been a lot of changes since like the 90s when TNT phased, or excuse me, TBS phased wrestling off of their network. So
Mm-hmm.
would they be able to get that audience back and then maybe draw a new audience in? That could be a question, but I'll let like Matt Wildman and Kaz touch on that one a little bit more.
Go ahead, Matt.
Being the elite, it's as Ziggy said, it's a YouTube show. Their content is strictly to YouTube. It's not gonna reach any TV time or anything. However, the elite is, Adam Cole, the Young Bucks, Gallus and Anderson. I don't know if they're still a part of it, but though that is like that will be on TV, but they're not gonna do the same shit that they do on YouTube, because you said they have to deal with the executives and all that.
Mm-hmm.
With the TV. And to bring the WWE fans over, I don't see it, because a lot of the fans will stick with the WWE still.
Mm-hmm.
And wherever AEW goes, whether it's TBS, TNT, Japan, wherever, it's not going to kill the magic at all. Because AEW's been on fire as of late, and they're only what 2 years in?
3 years.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah, 3. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right.
3 years. Yep.
Mr. Willis.
Well, with TBS and TNT, AEW is going to work out a little bit better with TBS, because one, you don't need the premium cable package to have TBS, but you do need a premium package to have TNT. A lot of people don't realize that. If you got basic cable, you can watch TBS, but you got to pay more money for TNT to have it on your cable package. So that might be a little bit better advantage for them in the long run, because you don't have to have that high end package. Because a lot of people then cut the cable off basically, or they might just have the smaller package and then have all the streaming stuff making up the difference, or borrowing people's passwords to put HBO Max and stuff on their cable. So I think they'll be better in the long run. And with being elite, that's a niche product that's basically just for YouTube and for the super hardcore fans. I don't think that would be something that's made for actual real television.
Okay. Cass?
I think putting Being the Elite on a major cable channel would be a horrible decision on AEW's part. It's not going to bring in any casual fans. The only people that watch it are hardcore wrestling fans. To bring back a lot of mainstream appeal is going to take something in wrestling that does not currently exist today. What it is to make wrestling special again, I don't know what that is, but it is being the elite. Being the elite. Lost my train of thought. Go ahead, Gus.
Well, welcome back, Ty.
Hello, everyone. I'm sorry about the corruption over here because my internet has been crazy. And I'm trying to work this out. This is my first time. I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
Stuff happens.
It happens.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
And Chris, I just wanted to say, this was just posted 43 minutes ago. Wednesday, Dynamite, Young Bucks versus Rocky Miro and
Rocky Romero?
Yeah, and Chuck Taylor. Tag team match.
Did the Young Bucks have a PWI tag team? I forgot the name of it. It was like one of the best tag teams.
PWI, yeah, they were ranked number 1.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and that was another thing too. Thank you for bringing that up. So there were fans, WWE fans, that I noticed was upset because they thought that the Usos should have been number 1. Why, I don't know.
What the Usos did is so amazing this year.
This past year?
Jimmy's been out for most of the past year, so where are they going out?
That's my Jesus Christ. That's why I'm trying. Okay.
The only thing they good at it was the bloodline angle with Roman Reigns, and that's it. What's something special about them they did this year or last year? Anyone think of something?
That's my whole thing. They think that because they were partnered up with because they think they were partnered up with Roman Reigns, that they say that they acknowledge the tribal chief, so they should be the number 1 tag team. I'm telling you, fans don't think logically. They don't. They go based on emotions, and then when you go based on emotions, you make dumbass fucking like replies and shit. Like, why in the fuck would I say the Usos were the number 1 tag team? They didn't do shit the whole entire year.
Right.
I think it's more a state on the sad tag team division that WWE has to offer, that they are the number 1 case you can put forward to being number 1 in PWI. Who else are you going to argue for in WWE, tag team wise?
I mean, I would just say that, they have more DUIs than, WWE. Like, I mean,
that is true.
I mean, if you,
I don't know how that gentleman still has a job.
But I understand why the Young Bucks became number one at the tag team today is because they put their business out there.
Thank you, honey.
They put they
Mm.
they put work into it. They did so much things that no other tag team ever did in wrestling history. Like they was the first to branch themselves into a new wrestling company. And not only that, they have their own YouTube channel, Being Elite, that got people interested in them and making them a platform
Mm-hmm.
to just they deserve it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But the Usos, like Chris said, they just do DUIs and get in trouble behind the scenes and nothing personal with the Usos, but I'm just saying, like, the Young Bucks put effort, make a name for themselves. Not only make a name for themselves, but to other wrestlers as well. They put input in AEW.
I mean, can we sit back and we can talk about All Out?
Yeah.
All Out. And you remember that they was in this tag team match with the Lucha Brothers in the cage match. That
okay, you telling me that they're not they don't deserve to be tag team? Like number one? I mean, what?
Young Bucks.
Oh, you can go back to the match where they won the tag team titles against FTR. And it was like that match was perhaps one of the biggest clinics that there ever had been in recent tag team wrestling, because Lord knows, outside of like the first Usos versus New Day feud that happened,
yeah, I was just
that
gonna
was about
say
the
that.
last time. Yeah, that was about the most recent time
Now-
you could ever praise it for WWE.
Yeah. If that now, let's say you brought that match up, right? Well, that if that magazine would have came out then and only then, I would have said number one. But that's it. Other than that, the last year or so, they haven't done anything because Jimmy's been injured. And then you had Jay get wrecked by Roman Reigns, but that's besides.
I mean, he was basically like Jay was like a bitch the whole entire year. I mean, seriously, they talk. Oh, but he was in the spotlight. Yes, as somebody's bitch.
What he do? Like what Jimmy do to make
somebody's bitch?
Jimmy was Jimmy was recovered from knee injury, and then after that, then he got in trouble with that DUI.
Yeah, I'm like, how the fuck you gonna have a broken knee and then still get in trouble with? Never mind. Okay. So Tim said that this has got to be the dumbest tag team. What was that? RK Bro had more moves than the Usos, and RK Bro can't even come close to the Bucks.
You know, that is sad when Orton and Riddle are your best tag team in the past year. That's sad.
I have no comment on that. Leave that one alone.
WWE does not care about tag team wrestling.
No, they don't, because as you can see, I mean, I don't even know why they even have a women's tag team division.
I was just gonna bring that up.
Now that's obvious. Why? That's obvious. Why?
For what? Tell me one good reason why.
Because if it didn't exist, they'd be getting lambasted by social media.
What the fuck that mean? So you telling me that, okay, I'm going to put out a women's tag team because my audience is bitching. Then when they do
that,
and then when they go ahead and do it, there's no tag team fucking division.
Well, I'm not gonna say anything about the state of the division, which is awful. Nobody can look at it and say, yes, that is what women's tag team wrestling should be. But the fact that it would not have existed, yeah, they would be getting lambasted about it.
They should be. I mean, it's
now your tag team champions are Carmella and Zelina Vega.
Trash.
A classic team.
Yeah,
You know,
That's
trash.
sarcasm.
It shows
y'all
that
know the
WWE
reason
has
why.
about tag team division, point blank, period. And that's the reason why the Uso is not in the number one spot. Because the Vince McMahon do not care about the tag team division. He just
No,
Oh,
he
okay, let Wild
doesn't.
Man get into this one because he get ready to try to say something.
Who?
Yeah, you know why they made
Oh.
them women's tag team titles for real? To keep one person happy on that whole roster. That was Sasha Banks. That's the
Yep.
only reason why they made them in the first place.
Sasha and Bailey
Yeah.
were the two
Those are two
most
women I
advocated
respect.
for those titles.
How
Yeah,
happy did it make her?
yeah.
Didn't she just leave? Did she take a long ass sabbatical after they dropped her?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she took. Yeah, she had a mental breakdown basically.
I mean, she
That
had a
doesn't
mental
seem-
breakdown. Then she decided to come back with more beautiful hair, colorful hair. Like I don't know, is she doing a Maybelline commercial or what? Like I don't know what.
But
I don't know.
but yo, but if I could go back to Wild Man's point about the tag teams or whatever. Yeah, y'all remember back in the day when I think it was like the first two Survivor Series when they would literally have like 10 tag teams like in the traditional
Oh
Survivor Series
yeah, it
matchup.
was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. And now these days between both the Raw and SmackDown rosters, I don't think you can even count 10 tag teams in WWE now.
You have to bring back the headbangers.
Yeah.
Right, you know.
And that's why they now do the tag champs versus the tag champs
Yep.
and all that because they don't have any tag teams.
That is so fucked
I
up.
just say, like, Vince McMahon don't care about tag team division at all. He just put them there and just wrestle.
But why do fans like defend him like religiously? Like why did it
Because they're so
why?
far up his ass.
I think
They don't
that
know
they
no
think that
better.
he's God.
They're in
They
the
think that he's
they're in
God.
the Kiss My Ass Club.
I'd kiss it. I'd kiss
I'm
it.
sorry, but
I would. I'd kiss his ass.
Matt, that's the line of the night right there, man.
I'd kiss his ass.
No, I'm good.
I will
He
not
is,
do
he's
that.
gonna pay me $5,000 to go on live television, get on my knees and kiss his bare ass. Thank you. That'll pay off quite a few debts I have. I'll take that 5,000.
Not at all. I'm number
Like,
one, I am too black for that. And number two, these lips do not need to be on somebody's fucking looking like a damn raisin ass derriere, whatever the fuck. Like, no, I'm good.
He
I'm
didn't skip
on
ass
my
day, sir.
reputation,
We
man.
all know that.
I'm not even letting him make me
Oh,
walk like a
Lord.
dog. Like
But
Chris
no,
said.
Probably his dick is probably not even working either.
yeah. But like I said, Chris, back to that point.
Huh? Yeah.
Back to that point though, it's true. Because he's been around for so long,
Oh.
and that's why everybody's defending him. They're in the Vince McMahon Kiss My Ass Club. And that's the only thing they know how to kiss. Is his
Well,
butt.
the documentaries the WWE keep producing coming out year after year after year. Vince McMahon's a genius. Vince McMahon's a genius because of this,
Yeah.
that, and the other.
Like he does nothing wrong.
Pumped down your throat.
Ziggy, we almost had Hornswoggle as general manager. So
Huh.
Oh my
Huh.
god.
I know. I
But
had to bring that up.
Z's being funny. He said, "What would y'all do if Goofy was announced as the new GM of SmackDown?" Oh gosh,
Well, he'd probably
gosh.
be smarter than half of the brain trusts that are running WWE now. So
Yeah,
And then Mickey be the new GM of.
Oh,
Oh boy, oh boy, oh my god.
I will not be
Mickey versus Goofy.
going to be the new SmackDown Women's Champion.
No, that's Minnie Mouse. Minnie Mouse will be the next women's champion.
Oh snap! Goofy's gonna steal Minnie from Mickey.
and then Donald will probably run in the UK or something again.
Right. That's and you know it'll be absolutely pathetic if Disney take over the WWE, which I mean I kind of see it happening anyway. I mean
It's
the
not
way
gonna
that
happen.
you don't
It's
think that's gonna happen?
well,
It's going to either be Fox or Universal and NBC. Disney is not going to be dealing with all the headache with them contracts and then going into the insurance and stuff like that. They're not gonna fight with that.
Yeah.
I mean, they already fine with Marvel already. You know what I'm saying? Like, what would they
Money.
want?
Money.
Yeah.
If you can make money from it, Disney will go after it. It's just money.
But yet, like, none of them from Disney knows about wrestling. So why would you take on something that you clearly don't know nothing about?
How much did Ted Turner know about wrestling? And he still got in the business, and he was very successful for a number of years.
That's because he had motherfuckers like Eric Bischoff that was running shit for him.
Yeah, you think Bob Iger, is he the CEO? He's not going to run it. They're going to delegate it. And if it starts going to crap, they're going to take him away and put somebody in charge of it. Wrestling is a proven commodity. I'm not saying Disney is going to come in and buy it. But what Disney will do is go after anything that they can perceive as being profitable and adding more money to their bottom line and pleasing their stockholders.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. Well, also Turner was successful, but yeah, maybe part of it was because of Bischoff. But let's not also forget at the same time, he also took a lot of financial losses because before that he had idiots like Jim Herd running it.
Yeah, and now you got an idiot in WWE.
Pizza Hut guy.
The other con there that doesn't know shit.
Nick Khan.
Nick Khan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Nick Con artist.
Nick
that Nick Khan artist. You stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
Nick Khan artist. Like, Nick do not like wrestling, I can tell. Like, he got rid of half of the, like 50% of the WWE's roster, and half of them were either mid cards or they were supposed to be getting a push. And it's like there's really no one there in the WWE right now.
It's the Roman Reigns show. That's it.
And Charlotte Flair to a lesser extent.
I'm gonna tell you this: Tony Storm is gonna be the one to dethrone Charlotte. No ifs or buts. Tony Storm.
The one that had cum on her face?
Yes, Charlotte had cum on her face this week too.
Oh, that the girl with the big booty?
Yeah.
Is that her Twitter headline?
Sorry.
Come here. Yeah, Like, that was the headline. Like, they was like, oh my gosh, she's being made fun of or whatever. And then I'm just like, wait a minute, what's that on her face? Like, is that a cum shot or?
Yeah, and then Charlotte got it back at her tonight.
Yeah, with the 3-week-old whipped cream pies.
Yeah.
Wow, that's wow.
But
That's
Tony Storm is. I really want her to beat Charlotte because I'm so sick of her already as champion. Like, I really am.
I think a lot of people are getting tired of Charlotte, and like what I was saying in the beginning of the show, Charlotte ended her engagement with Andrade. Why? I don't know. I don't know. I'm just tired of that bitch. I don't like her. Just don't.
She a heel or a face currently?
I don't know.
I think she's a heel right now because Tony Storm's the babyface.
Why aren't they playing that up then?
Well, Charlotte just lost to Becky, and which Charlotte brought up last week about it. But again, Charlotte says that shit, but she would have done the same exact shit.
Facts.
But at least she's honest about the fact that she would do the same exact things. So.
Yeah.
I wanted that Charlotte Flair really hate Becky Lynch though, because their story.
No, that's all storyline shit. That's all storyline shit.
I don't know, because the one thing about Charlotte that I've been noticing, and I know this is speculation though, but the one thing I've been noticing about Charlotte is that if the spotlight is not on her and it's on somebody else, she starts to get these like hissy fits. Now, I read an article online, remind you, it's only just speculation, but I wouldn't be surprised that she's mad because she's not getting a Roman Reigns push. What?
Yeah,
her daddy's not there to defend her anymore. So,
like, bitch, you are a 13-time world champion.
She got more title runs than Roman.
Yeah, like, I mean, she got more reigns than Roman. Like, what?
I think what she's meaning in the sense is that But look how quickly she lost a lot of those titles. One and two, they can anybody name the last time Roman actually lost a one-on-one match?
He lost the last time he lost was about almost 2 years ago.
I know, and that's
The
where I
last
think
one he
Charlotte's
lost was
really
Keith
going
Lee.
with that one.
Yeah.
That's where I think Charlotte's really going with this one is that she she hasn't had a really extensive run where she was on a winning streak without taking a loss, like with a like within a 6 month span or whatever. I
But yeah,
think
it's
that's
like
kind
when
of where
she
she's
lose
going.
a belt, it's like when she lose a belt, she gained it in like 5 seconds. And Vince
Right.
McMahon, his whole philosophy is that he wants somebody to get to the 16 time like reign as 16 reigns or whatever, titles or whatever. And it's like it's getting pathetic, dude. Like I'm just
And
oh
you
my
know what the bad thing about it is? Ric Flair actually is not the 16-time world champion. He's actually the 22-time world champion. He has a couple of phantom title losses that they don't count on the record.
And
Yep.
why
that's
not?
probably why they don't count it and because a lot of times where they'll have like these matches where, oh, maybe the wrestler's shoulder wasn't down or there was like some sort of crooked finish and they'll say, oh, you know what, this happened or this happened, so we actually got to give the title back.
Yeah, didn't
Hmm.
didn't he lose to Macho Man for a
Yeah,
title?
Who?
No, it's a couple of matches that he lost overseas while he was champion, just to appease the different organizations that he was going to, and then he'll win it back before he leaves. But they don't count those because they wasn't in the country.
Go ahead,
that's
Chaz.
I have a question for you guys,
Yes.
because this is something that really irritates me.
Hmm.
What are y'all's thoughts about when a wrestler kicks out at 3 to protect themselves from not looking weak?
Ooh.
Road Warriors, Hulk Hogan, Greg Valentine. Anytime they lose, they get pinned. Right at 3.1, they kick out because they don't want to be perceived as weak. What do y'all think about that?
Like how Hulk Hogan did that shit to
a
Yeah.
warrior.
Ultimate Warrior.
Warrior.
No, I think he did it for Yokozuna, I think.
Well, Hulk Hogan did it a
Couple of
lot.
people.
Yeah, he did it a
Yeah.
lot. Hulk
Yeah.
Hogan, in my eyes, is the most overrated wrestler I've ever seen in my fucking life. Now they call him the Godfather, but he was never really in my top 10. I'm sorry.
He's the most sneakiest man than Ric Flair.
Yeah, and Ric Flair, I would like probably like kind of put him as overrated as well because there's really nothing appealing about Ric Flair. They would just talk about, oh yeah, you got to be on Space Mountain. Space Mountain is probably what was probably not even that good.
Did you
So
just
I
say
mean,
there's nothing
See,
appealing about Ric Flair?
I sure did. And if
I
I
Oh,
grew up in the
hot
era
take.
when Ric Flair.
if I had a lace front, I'll be pushing it right now.
See, I grew up in the era when Ric Flair used to have 60-minute matches week in and week out on house shows and regular shows. So nobody right now could even do that on anybody's roster. So I
I
give
wouldn't say
props to
that.
Ric Flair on that.
I wouldn't say that because that's been done already. You know what I'm saying? Now I would say that was just my personal opinion. Like I just Ric Flair is a trailblazer. Don't get me wrong. But
Yeah.
the thing is that I don't like Ric Flair. I just don't.
He's not your cup of tea.
Not my cup
Yeah,
of
Yes.
tea
Oh,
at all.
I think the thing with Flair is, and I've been a long time Flair fan, but a lot of Rick's personal antics, not all, well, mostly the backstage ones.
Mhm.
Yeah, a lot of that coming to light. Yeah, it kind of paints him in a slightly different picture for people that weren't as much of a Flair fan. And then again, like a lot of his stuff that he did outside of the ring, if well, whatever if that came to light, that
Hmm.
also had so if you weren't So if you weren't a Flair person, then if you heard about him playing the politic game, which by the way, damn near 90% of any top star of top stars
Basically.
have always
Yeah.
done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you were that type of person, or if you were somebody who was late they hears about Ric Flair getting into some sort of legal trouble outside of the ring,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you were gonna have a field day with it. But if you
Mm-hmm.
were a fan of Flair's though, then okay, you see, all right, some of that, even if it was documented, and even if Flair actually admitted, which he actually did in his book with some instance,
Mm-hmm.
um, but it was like still though, when you look at Flair as just the performer, it was like,
Mm.
damn, but Rick, sometimes I don't know how you did it, my friend, but it was like you take the human, you you don't ignore the human error out of Ric Flair's career, but yeah, but you kind of don't also factor it in because a lot of us don't know Ric Flair the man outside the ring compared to Ric Flair the wrestler.
Gotcha.
I don't know where to begin with the artist versus human aspect, because if you were people always constantly talk about the Mount Rushmore of wrestling. Who is your top four? Who would you put on that mountain?
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely not the same of who are the Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling human beings.
Mm.
But if you were to do that,
Let's
Ric
not-
Flair would not be on that
Will
list.
not even
But
be in the top 100.
And
But
neither would Hulk Hogan.
it's just
I think
hard
that
to
Ric
say.
Flair did dirty thing to be on top. That's what I think about Ric Flair. I never was a Ric Flair fan because I feel like he has to take over things to his career to make him who he is today by being the dirtiest, by being the sneakiest, by doing things that we don't do as like people, but he did it for his own.
Personal gain.
Yes,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's Rick.
Now, are we talking about Rick outside of
Yeah.
wrestling or Rick? Oh, damn. Oh,
In wrestling, not outside. Like him
no,
outside.
but Chad said this is Ric Flair outside of wrestling.
Ooh,
Do
outside.
you agree with that?
All I really know about Ric Flair outside of wrestling is he's bad with money and he sleeps around.
I'm never a fan of him outside or inside of wrestling, but it's just that it takes a person to do the thing he does and make it magical, but
Mm-hmm.
also at the same time, it give him a sense of like the ability to play this character that we see in wrestling, but outside of the wrestling business, he used that to his advantage. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like the jet flying, the car
Just
stealing.
stealing.
He
Yeah,
lives the gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he lived the
Mhm.
gimmick. That's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Although, unfortunately, like with a lot of people, that also wound up being as much of a detriment to their career. Well, Flair being one of the most noted ones, but yeah, you also think like Shawn Michaels being another because as a wrestler, yeah, I think it would be fair to say like if you were to count how many bad matches Shawn Michaels had, you'd pretty much be in single digits depending on how many you saw. But you think about Shawn when he was playing the backstage politics and whatever. Yeah, and hell, Michaels himself would even admit he was a dick, and that was probably the nicest thing he'll say about himself. And
A
I
So I
dick,
never
think
was
it's
into
Now,
HBK.
a dick, a
He was never my
racist.
favorite.
a
Yes,
crackhead, a former crackhead.
yeah. Like it was some things that I found out about Shawn Michaels that I just lost respect for. They said that he got Jesus again, but then he totally buried Shelton Benjamin. But we don't talk about that, you
what
know.
happened with Shelton Benjamin?
So after Shelton Benjamin got super kicked in his face, I believe this is, if I'm not mistaken, that they said that Shelton Benjamin wasn't ready for the main event.
What? Wait a minute.
I heard about
I
this
remember,
a long time ago. Like,
yeah, and I remember watching that match, and
Yeah, that was
yeah,
crazy.
Michael. Yeah, it's rare that I would say this, but in this case, this is true. Shelton Benjamin out wrestled Shawn Michaels in the majority of that match.
actually, he out wrestled most of the roster at that time. When he was
And the crazy thing is, and I do not want to put race out here like that. Please, 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 everybody. I'm serious. When I say this, I don't want to put race out there, okay? But when a black man out wrestles a white man, you know they feel some type of way. You know? But you know, we want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about some discussion, especially Shawn Michaels. You know,
But yet they say he wasn't ready. But yet they say he wasn't ready for the main event. But then
yeah.
he went on to win, I don't know how many Intercontinental titles. And then
U.S. titles, tag titles.
the tag titles.
And wait a minute, wasn't this the same dude that beat Triple H like 3 times in a row?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's funny because he beat the best friends. Then when he gets to Shawn Michaels and he get KO'd by that super kick, then Shawn Michaels, you know, talk about, you know, God told me that, you know, Shelton Benjamin is just not ready for the main event because he out wrestled me, and no one makes Shawn Michaels look bad ever, 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 because I'm the heartbreak kid. You know.
Where were you in the 90s when I needed you? Because everyone else was a massive Shawn Michaels fan. And I was like, he's not so great.
My guy was Brett. I was always Brett over Shawn.
I'm an Owen Hart girl.
Here's the thing, bro.
For the record, I was a Jannetty fan, a little bit more to Michaels.
But Chad, here's the issue. The first person I saw on analog TV on Channel 65, I always tell people this story.
Channel 65.
Bro, like I was just switching channels and then this fuzzy shit came on. I said, what the fuck is this? Oh, this is just some men in tights and all this shit. I'm like, I don't know how that piqued my curiosity, but guess who was the first person I seen? Shawn Michaels.
ATK.
Then 25 years later, I find out that he's a crackhead, and so I'm sitting up here like, wow, the person that I idolize or whatever, is a complete scumbag, and yeah, that's the problem with the internet. It's a blessing and a curse, you know.
Oh, if you think about it, damn near everybody's like done something because we know like Warrior. Well, Lord knows what he didn't do. But yeah, Savage was a cokehead. Piper was a cokehead. Brett.
It was the 80s.
Oh,
yeah,
don't say Brett was. Brett only swallowed syrup from the maple syrup. You can't say he was a crackhead. You can't say that.
Wait a minute, hold on. Actually, I can give. Well, he wasn't a full crackhead, but I can say he had experience doing it, though.
No, you can't know.
No, because he'll actually admit.
Syrup is not crackish. Okay.
Chris, was it Mrs. Buttersworth? Was it Mrs. Buttersworth?
Would you just ask if it was Mr. Butterworth now?
Yeah, Mrs. Buttersworth, yeah.
Folks, this is why we do these shows, y'all. This is why we do it.
No. It's just
Well,
I
part
don't
of it.
believe Bret Hart did crack. I don't
Nope.
believe that.
He actually admitted it, and it was
He did?
actually with. Yeah, he actually admitted like right before his match with Piper. Yeah, like a couple weeks before his match with Piper.
I didn't
Yeah,
know
he and
that.
Roddy actually did a line.
Excuse me?
Yeah, yeah, he and Roddy Piper actually did a line together.
A coat
Did
line.
a
Yep.
line. Wow.
Did he do heroin too?
Wow.
Brett didn't do hair on this, but I do. Yeah, I
Somebody
do
did
know.
heroin.
Like before that when he wanted to build up his physique a little bit, he actually got like that he got that horse what's that shit that McGuire got busted for? If anybody knows.
Steroids?
Yeah, it was like that horse testosterone. Yeah,
Oh, no wonder his dick went little. Oh, no wonder.
yeah, and
You know,
yeah.
they said when you do too much steroids, your dick shrinks. And then, you know, there's always some shrinkage when it comes to Brett
Yeah.
because I'm like, I never could see his penis. Like, I never could see it. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
No, we
but it was like
about,
you'd be surprised, like the people that will actually admit the stuff they did like because Brett compared to most people had like a smaller physique, but I know like he
I bet
actually
he
admitted
was small.
because yeah, I was like, wait a minute, Brett actually took like a steroid injection. I was like, where did it go? Because compared to most people, he didn't have a muscular build and whatnot.
He took horse steroids. I
You
think.
talking about? Did you hear what this nigga just said? He said, "Where did the steroids go? It went straight to his dick.
Penis.
Where it went.
He has a large penis.
Trust me.
Or
Trust
in,
me.
in Brock Lesnar's case, when he was 2002, it went all in his neck.
No, no, not according to what Terry said. Terry Runnels. Terry Runnels said that he had an itty bitty little door stopper. So yeah,
Everyone got a small pee, so
yeah. I would have thought like the muscular dudes had some big dicks, but obviously they don't.
Brock Lesnar, if you're listening right now, everyone else is saying you have a small penis. I think you have a huge penis. A
I don't
gigantic
think, I
penis.
don't think so.
Gargantuan. Godzilla size. You.
No.
You're a true man.
It went
Can
all
we-
Don't hurt me.
it went all into
Can
his
we
neck.
ask Sable and get a definite opinion?
That's what I think.
No.
I just realized something. I just realized on this podcast, no diehard WWE fans had came on to defend their company.
Of course
At
not.
all.
Of course not. That's what I'm saying. They're fucking cowards. That's why I say I have a fucking platform where I wanted all the fucking WWE fans to come on here. AEW fans. I wanted a mixture. These motherfuckers ain't gonna come on because they're fucking cowards. So when the next time that they run a fucking mouth and talk about, well, I'm gonna protect my product at all times, I'm gonna say I put this shit in the fucking group. So when y'all was running y'all motherfucking mouth 2 days ago, I told y'all, come on, let's talk. They don't want to talk in front of the camera because they know they get red.
That bitch ass what is it, Sparrow Suplex or whatever his name is in the TWC group that always posting about goddamn ratings all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Them motherfucking them ratings don't mean shit. Your shit is still trash at the end of the day. You could have 2 million motherfucking viewers, but that does not mean that half of them motherfuckers were paying attention.
And
But you know,
paying
whatever.
attention, they was mostly looking to see how bad you were going to execute stuff.
The botches.
And you know what kills me? SmackDown, you don't even need cable to watch SmackDown.
You
and
really
they
don't.
still are only getting 2 million people to watch the show. That's sad.
Ain't that fucked up? Because that contract for Fox, I could have swore they said 3 million, but you know,
Yeah, that is true.
we ain't gonna talk about that. But yeah, everybody, we are approaching. Well, actually, it is 11:04 Central Time, 12 o'clock 04 Eastern Time. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go around the room. have our little final thought, and we're going to close this podcast. This has been a great podcast. I just really wish that, what I'm saying, the biased WWE fans would have came on here and would have debated with us. I think this is a great panel of new people that came on tonight. But it is what it is. We had a great
Hey
discussion.
Chris,
So yes,
I'm just gonna run this by you. You should maybe try to get Stevie's input too.
I
See
don't need
what?
Stevie input.
No.
I already have his input. He
Oh,
don't
okay.
need it. No, I'll talk to him probably the next time I run into Stevie Ray. I'll probably talk to him and see what his input is. He's pretty much a laid back guy, so
Yeah, no,
I think I have
I
an
will. Yeah,
I think I have an idea what he'll probably say. So
yeah.
You
um
need to tell Stevie Ray to kick Booker T in his ass for being such a
Oh,
goddamn smart
he's already told.
man.
He's oh no,
no.
Chris has already told Stevie Ray how he felt about Booker
I
many
already
times.
told, yeah, I already
Yeah.
told him, and like I said, I know Stevie has told Booker T on more than one occasion that Chris said this about you and all this other bullshit. I'm just waiting for that day that I see him, and I already know I'm not going to get a direct answer because Booker T is not a direct person. So I will be literally wasting my time and my patience and the nuts on the hairs on my balls. They will be
Damn.
wasting time, and I'm not about that life. So, with that being said, Rocky Reese, any final thoughts?
Well, first and foremost, thank you to Ty as and Wildman for your first appearances on the show, man. Y'all definitely brought a lot of great stuff to us. So please come on back anytime y'all are available. Yeah. But as far as this whole thing with WWE versus AEW, everybody, we're about less than a month away from 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Can y'all please bring your mindsets forward to this century instead of sticking them back half a millennium? Because right now we're supposed to be at a point where we're trying to progress wrestling, but yet y'all are either holding it back or y'all trying to ruin it for everybody else to the point where, like I brought up earlier, we've got enough numbskulls on this planet that already badmouth wrestling to the point where now they just feel like, oh, the so-called people that love the sport, we'll let them run their mouths because they're doing our dirty work for us. You know, it's okay to
That's
be a WWE fan. It's okay to be an AEW fan. Hell, it's even great to live both of them. And if you want to throw in New Japan, want to throw in Impact, want to throw in NWA, MLW, and like anything else that's coming along, yeah, it's okay to be a fan of both.
mm-hmm.
Now, granted, there's going to be hits and misses in each and every company, but want to know how to really bring change along in the professional wrestling world in 2022 and beyond? Learn how to use your voice effectively,
Mm.
and not just sitting on typing on the keyboard. If you go out to the shows, use your voice to let you know, hey, I appreciate what you're doing, or let you know, hey, you're doing all right, but you could do a little bit better on this. Because when you learn how to use your words effectively, instead of typing out and thinking like you know everything, which by the way, newsflash, none of us don't. And that's
Thanks.
when you start affecting the change positively. And then ultimately, when you have WWE step up, we have AEW performing at a high level, we have all the other companies wanting to perform on a high level. That's how we make wrestling work. And remember that it's not just about Chris, it's not about me, it's not about individual, it's about all of us. Yeah, that we are supposed to be a community, but y'all gotta put the unity in the community to make wrestling work.
He's not lying about that.
No, he's not.
That's what's up. Thank you, Reese. Matt, your turn.
Yeah, so I just want to thank Chris and everyone here. Thank you for having me on and chopping it up and everything. All right. So with AEW and WWE fans, we all know we're all not going to be unified at some point in time. We're going to still have those knuckleheads, but we're also going to have some good people like us in the community that will pretty much hold it together.
Mhm.
And also too, it shouldn't matter whether it's WWE, Impact, any other promotion. It could be independent. We all love professional wrestling. So it shouldn't come down to attacking people. Like, I see Chris get attacked all the time, and it irritates the shit out of me. But Chris knows how to handle it as much as we all do. And I commend him for that. And one more thing, support your independent shows that are around you. I don't know how much I can say that enough. Because a lot of them will most likely appear on AEW Dark Elevation. So support them, and I thank you guys again for having me on.
Awesome. Ty.
Oh, hi everyone. I like to thank Chris because he is the first person that made me fell in love with wrestling again, because I have this whole hate relationship with wrestling. But now he's building a platform for everybody to express their opinions and they raise their voice for a better future in wrestling. And I really want to see this happening like time and time again, because we need good understanding about professional wrestling. Not everyone, quote unquote, into the positivity of wrestling, but I just hope for the greater good that wrestling should be a better platform for everyone to just speak their opinion, to speak their voice. And I was nervous at the beginning. I got lots of hiccups with the internet problem, but overall, I'm back. I love the energy in this room, in this chat room, and I hope that everyone who is dealing with a lot of issues, please ask for help or just seek someone to understand you clearly. But overall, I like thank everyone. So thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah, no problem. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no
Thank you for
problem.
the kind
Thanks, Ty.
words. Mr. Wildman, go ahead.
Well, I'm glad to be on the show. I'm glad to be talking to everybody. Here's my advice. Stop worrying about ratings. You don't own either fucking company. You don't work for either fucking company. So you're not gonna get anything out of what ratings, who do better or what, because you don't own shit. You're not working for them. So you don't get no profit for this shit. So it doesn't matter. Just enjoy the damn show. There is hardly no more casual fans because the hardcore fans act so stupid when a casual fan wants to come in, they see them acting crazy over basically play fighting. To be honest with you, you'd be like, I don't want to get in that community. It's just toxic. And then that's why you only got 2 million people watching SmackDown. You only got 1.8 million watching Raw. You only got maybe a million each month, each week for AEW, because Vince McMahon has made a product that turned people away from wrestling as a whole, and they don't want to come back. And then when they try to come back, you see all the toxicity in the community, and they just don't want to be bothered with that. So my advice is just enjoy your wrestling. Don't be a simp for a company that don't even know who the fuck your name is. And one more thing, fuck Roman Reigns. I still don't like his monkey ass.
Damn.
Mic
Well,
drop.
thank you, Wildman. Chaz.
Well, I don't have anything near as entertaining as that. I will say, yes, out there in internet land, just treat everybody with love and be kind and go watch Bret Hart versus Roddy Piper at WrestleMania.
Okay.
That's all.
So I want to let everyone know, everyone on this panel, you guys are awesome. This is why I do podcasting. I want you guys to have a voice. If someone tells you that you can't watch this, tell them to fuck off. Because at the end of the day, no one has power over you but the Lord above. If you believe in Jesus, if you believe in Jesus, if you believe in God, hey, that's fine too. But my whole thing is that I'm a wrestling fan to the day I die. It does not matter if it's WWE, AEW, TNA. It doesn't matter. But I'm not going to allow someone that is bleeding like I do tell me that I can't watch this shit because they're having a bad day and they feel some type of way about this company that's outperforming them in every demographic. At the end of the day, I don't give a fuck about ratings. I don't give a fuck about the demographics. If the shit is fun, I'm going to see it. I'm going to watch it. That's just me. And I just want the toxicity, like what Wildman said, just to stop. We don't need this shit in our community. So to the panel, thank you so much for coming on, and everyone that was watching. We will be back for NXT Takeover on Saturday. Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday.
We'll be watching that. Until that time, I'm your host, Mr. Team Bring It, and you guys have a wonderful weekend.
Bye, Chris.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Everybody.
Peace.